And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. Our show today comes to you from the traditional and unceded territory of the Tsimshian people. Over a quarter century ago, the concept of a northern corridor was taking shape in Canada. This involved the establishment of multi-modal transportation corridor across the northern and near northern Canada, aiming to facilitate economic development and improve infrastructure in the region. On today's Open Connection, we open our archives to bring you this story from 1999.
The Northern Corridor Development Corporation has been working hard over the past year to market the advantages of using the transportation route. Among its goals is the development of container traffic, which is fast becoming a popular method of shipping. NCDC President Jeff Burkhart says they will have to get a commitment from Canadian National Railways that the Northern Corridor is a significant part of their long-term strategies in order for container traffic to become a reality.
Long-term goods and services are going to become more specialized in how they're shipped. There's going to be less bulk shipments. What that means is less grain, less coal, and more reliance on finished products that have to go in containerized form. If we don't find a way that CN and the Illinois Central want to use this corridor as a significant stopping off point for containers in a worldwide network, then our corridor won't realize its potential.
Burkhart says CN is being cautious because the container traffic just isn't there right now. But he says the corridor has to make sure it is a player in the future as the industry grows. Overall, there are many advantages to shipping along the Northern Corridor. It is the straightest, most level piece of track stretching from the American Midwest to the Pacific. Northern BC ports are at least a day closer to Asian markets, and the Northwest in general is sparsely populated, meaning less interruptions to rail travel. Both Kitimat and Prince Rupert are pursuing container business. In Prince Rupert, the Port Authority says it is getting very close to making the move to containerization. President Don Cressell says it's not an easy task, considering the capital costs that are involved.
At a minimum, you need two container cranes to work a vessel. A container vessel will not come into your port if you do not have the ability to service it very quickly. They only make money when they're moving. And so they'll only go to ports that make sure that the vessel will turn around quickly. So at a very minimum, you need two container cranes. Brand new, each of those container cranes cost about $10 million a piece. So right away you're looking at $20 million. The terminal itself would have to, there would have to be some preparation to make the terminal, Fairview Terminal, ready for container cranes. So you're looking at $25 million just to get started.
Cressell says on top of that, the rail line has to be able to handle double-stack service in order to keep things economical for customers.
That has height implications, and we have 7 tunnels between here and the Rocky Mountains that currently would not allow for double stacking. So CN would have to invest between $10 and $15 million, not only on the tunnels, but on some other aspects. So in total, just to enable this Northwest Corridor to handle containers, you're looking at about $40 million in capital investment.
Cressell says in order to make it pay for itself, there will have to be an average of 60,000 containers per year of throughput, which is a big leap from zero, and it may take years to even reach that point. The quandary lies in whether to go out and firm up contracts ahead of time or build the facility and hope you'll get the business in the end. Cressell says the port is looking at something in between the two options.
Well, I think where we're at, what we have to do is get some initial traffic. We're not going to get 60,000 containers of traffic before we build. But let's try to get at least an initial customer, an anchor tenant, so to speak. Some of that might even promise us, 1,000, 2,000 containers. At least then the whole system, the corridor, the container corridor would be working, functioning. The container cranes wouldn't be sitting there idle. It wouldn't be a total white elephant. You would have an initial customer, you could have a reason for your initial investment. And then plus when it's operating and working, you could sell your efficiencies. You can bring other customers to the table and say, see, it's working fantastically. We'd like you also to join in, and you build on that way.
Rupert's advantages lie in the fact that it is 55 hours closer than Los Angeles and 33 hours closer than Vancouver to Asia. Plus, it has the deepest ice-free port in North America, which helps since container vessels are getting larger and larger. But it isn't the only site in the north which is suitable for container traffic. Kitimat is also making the move towards containerization and is the closest port inland on the rail line, giving it some cost advantages.
The sooner that you take goods from off the land transportation systems and get them into the water, the less your cost is. So from that point specifically, I guess Kitimat does have an advantage of being a port that's closer inland than other ports. Again, it really depends on what the commodities are, where the markets are, what kind of facilities already exist, what type of expertise in each community already exists, all those things, and it'll, any decision that's being made in terms of port development is always driven by those types of economic factors.
Kitimat does have the space to accommodate container handling facilities, among other advantages.
There are about 11 sites on tidewater where a private port could be created. We are a private port in the sense that we are not controlled by the federal government in any way, so that the port users in Kitimat do have advantages in that way. Also, some of the existing industries are looking at sending some of their goods by way of containers in order to ensure delivery at the other end of the product, that the product is not damaged in any way, and certainly Eurocan has been talking about sending some of their paper to foreign countries in containers. So the idea is not foreign to us, and so we will look at all opportunities.
Wozni believes there is an opportunity for both communities to be in the container business.
If Kitimat does create a container port, and Prince Rupert has one too, I'm sure there is enough business for both ports to handle containers coming into our communities and exporting as well. And that would certainly alleviate a lot of the congestion that Vancouver ports are currently facing, because they just can't handle the volume of containers, and certainly we are able to do that.
No matter who ends up getting into container handling, the economic impacts to the communities along the transportation corridor could be substantial, not only in the creation of jobs, but also for the expansion and creation of value-added businesses.
Somebody who wants to put a value-added mill in, whether it be in Terrace, Smithers, Prince George, or McBride, anywhere along the corridor, they now know that they don't have to worry about the transportation logistics as much as they do today, because they can fill containers with their finished product and get it to market, whether it's going east or west, whether it's going to the Asian market or if it's going to the Chicago market. And just having that regular traffic of containers would be very beneficial just to the whole economy and opening up other opportunities for us.
There are inquiries happening at this point in time to take a look at not only new value-added product that could be containerized and that could have a venue through either Prince Rupert, Kitimat, or Stewart, but also what existing goods have we got that we could be containerizing as well because of the efficiency in the handling of systems.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thank you for staying with us. Introduced in 1998, the BC Graduated Licensing Program is a two-stage system to ease new drivers onto the road. It aims to reduce risks of novice drivers by providing a staged approach to learning with restrictions and a focus on supervised driving experience. Let us return to the archives with Frank Fakit.
Each year in our province, approximately 80,000 new drivers are licensed. According to statistics from ICBC, new drivers, regardless of age, are almost twice as likely to cause a collision as experienced motorists. In fact, 1 in 5 drivers is involved in a crash in their first 2 years on the road. And those are statistics the graduated licensing program is working to decrease.
What we saw with the results from those jurisdictions is that there's been a great deal of success with regards to decreasing fatalities and collisions for new drivers. And the logic behind it is that, we want to promote road safety and reduce the cost of insurance, and also to put a more confident and skillful driver on the road.
Statistics in BC aren't available yet, but in other parts of the country they're very encouraging.
Well, we're just starting to track the statistics now, so we really don't have a good base of statistics at this time to see if how effective the program is. But we do have a good base from Ontario, where they've had it in place since 1994, and they've seen a decrease of about 24% with regards to collisions, and I think they're at around the 20% mark with regards to fatalities for youth between the ages of 16 and 25.
Here's how the program works. When you apply for your learner's license, you'll have to, just as in the past, take a knowledge test, a road sign test, and your vision will be checked as well. If you're under 19, a parent or legal guardian will need to be on hand to sign your application. To pass the knowledge and road signs test, you'll need to score at least 80%. Once you've done that and have your learner's license, you can then start driving under certain conditions. Firstly, you must be accompanied by a fully licensed adult. Your blood alcohol content must be 0. The L, learner's sign, needs to be displayed. You can only carry 2 passengers. And finally, driving hours are restricted to between 5 a.m. and midnight.
And then from there, you move on to the next stage, and you're either in the first stage for 6 months or 3 months. You can bring it down to 3 months if you take a certified driver's course, and that makes it only 3 months, and then you can move on to the next stage, which is the intermediate stage or the novice stage.
Before moving on to that novice stage, though, new drivers need to take a level 1 road test. If that's passed, then it's time for the next stage. Here, the daylight driving and no passenger rules are lifted, and you can drive on freeways. You must still maintain 0 blood alcohol and display the N, new driver sign. You have to spend at least 18 months in the intermediate stage before taking the level 2 test. If you pass, then you can get your Class 5 driver's license. It's a lengthy process, up to 2 years, to get what many consider their long-awaited ticket to freedom, and that can seem like a long time.
It's all right in some ways. It's both some other ways, too. I don't know. It works 50-50 both ways. You learn how to drive better, but I don't know. It takes the excitement out of it, too.
What is it? What sort of excitement are you looking for?
Well, once you turn 16, you expect to be able to drive right away, but then you got to wait 6 months, and then it's a drag.
16-year-old Blair Frail has had his learner's license for about 4 months now, and despite the complaints, says he realizes the goal of the program, in part, is to help prevent new drivers from being involved in accidents that he thinks will be successful.
So they seem to be more conscientious about obeying the rules, less cutting loose. We seem to see less instances of the carload of teenagers that are off and driving recklessly or carelessly around town. They seem to be much more aware of since the rules are better spelled out, what those boundaries are that have been provided to them, and I think it's been an improvement.
Terrace RCMP Corporal Rod Holland is a huge fan of the graduated licensing program. Like ICBC, the RCMP don't have any specific statistics yet, but Holland says he likes what he's seen so far.
As far as dealing with people in the graduated driver's license program, we've only had one 12-hour suspension for somebody in that program that has been drinking and driving in the past year.
That, he says, is excellent and shows that the program appears to not only be teaching the tangible, but the intangible, like attitude as well. Another important part of the graduated licensing program, which drivers may or may not choose to take advantage of, is an ICBC-approved driver education course. It can reduce the 6-month learner stage by 3 months and also counts as 2 grade 11 credits in public schools. Here in the Northwest, there's just one instructor who fits the bill. He plans to teach the first course next month.
I had to design a course, and it's a 35-hour program designed at, it's all to do with the attitude of young drivers starting out, so they have some experience before they even get in the car. It's a 35-hour, 20 of that is classroom and 15 is in the car.
And Illingworth is getting ready to do a lot of driving himself, being the only one between Prince Rupert and Prince George who's approved to teach the course. He plans to travel to communities from the Charlottes to Burns Lake.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. Built in 1946 by aircraft technicians and Second World War veterans for the store in Winnipeg, the mechanical figures were powered by war surplus mortars. Appearing at Eaton's Portage Avenue windows, the displays complemented the annual Santa Claus Parade. Let us return to the archives as some local smithereens showcase their talent.
As the Christmas carol goes, 'tis the season to be jolly, and a big part of creating that happy mood are the decorations put up in homes, stores, and offices during the holidays. Nowadays, more and more people are adding a personal touch to their decorating by making their own ornaments.
Well, we're making tree ornaments. We're doing raku tree ornaments, and we are also making mugs.
Kafer started a Potter's Guild in Smithers this summer, so this is the first time the group got to make some Christmas ornaments.
I think that when you are working with clay and making your own ornaments, these ones were made raku, so they have a more historical value. When you put them on the tree each year, you'll remember the year specifically because you remember the work and the effort and the time that went into it. With each thing that you make, you know, you're thinking about the person as you're making it. It's a process, so a lot of love goes into it.
The Guild sold most of the decorations and mugs at a Christmas sale to raise money to buy new equipment so they can make even better ornaments next year.
I think when you have a group of people who are working all, on the same kind of thing, it inspires people to continue and to try new ideas. And because I do love it myself, I get excited about what other people do, and I think that other people will be excited as well.
What are you making there?
Snowman.
Making Christmas crafts is not just for adults. Lots of kids spend a Saturday before Santa arrives making decorations. These kids gathered at Hidden Talents in Smithers to learn how to make something special for the holiday season.
To start, they just learn how to base coat their project. Then they do a bit of line work and learn some brush control. Then they get to glue it all together and do the sparkling and what the kids like to do and wiring it together.
The little ones take their crafting seriously, trying their best to do a good job. And obviously, the kids do great work for themselves and for their proud parents. What did you make here today?
I made this.
And what is that?
It's a joy thing.
Joy thing. And what are you going to do with it?
Hang it on the wall.
Cool. Is that going to be a Christmas gift to your parents?
Maybe.
Merrick says anybody of any skill level can make Christmas crafts, and that's part of the reason why it's becoming so popular.
I think it is because people don't have money to spend right now, and so they like to make things. If you learn to make a couple projects, they kind of make 10 or 20 of them, and those are the Christmas gifts for the year.
That's fantastic, eh? Very good job.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Lights bring holiday cheer for sure, but they can be a safety hazard. Use indoor lights for indoors and outdoor lights outdoors, and always turn them off when leaving the house or going to bed. In this final segment of Open Connection, let us return to the archives with Randy Smith.
The signs of Christmas are everywhere. Lots of bright lights, Christmas trees sitting in a cherished corner, and people stoking up their furnaces or fireplaces. In short, lots of potential for fire. And as is the case every year at this time, fire departments across the land are issuing warnings to be careful, starting with those lights.
A lot of us use our Christmas lights year in and year out, and sometimes we even tend to leave them up a little longer than they should, and they become weathered and frayed. If you notice that your Christmas lights are starting to look a little under the weather, it's time to replace them. Don't take the chance of having somebody get electrocuted with the lights, and always keep them in good condition or repair the plugs on them.
Some people already have their Christmas trees up or are about to put them up. Artificial trees are less of a fire hazard, but many of us still want to have the real thing, and that of course means we have to be a bit more careful. Check to see the tree you pick out doesn't have a lot of needles falling from it. Don't set it up too early. And it's also a good idea to let it warm up slowly in a garage, say, before setting it up in the home.
And then take and cut the stem off in a diagonal, and make sure that you put and mount your tree where it can, the base has some water in it so that the tree can absorb the water as it lets down and warms up.
Some people say putting sugar or something like that into the water helps to keep the tree moister or wetter. Is that true?
Well, you know, I do it, and it sure doesn't hurt. It's not a costly item, and I would do everything that, if you think it's going to help, I would put the sugar and mix the water up. And I think my grandmother used to use molasses. Well, again, make sure though that the base is in water, and that you keep the base in water throughout the holiday season so that your tree can absorb as much moisture as possible.
And last but not least, make sure you have a working smoke detector on each level of your house.
If you have smoke detectors in your house, make sure that they're functioning. If you have battery-operated smoke detectors, check the batteries. Make sure that they're good batteries in the house. We have a lot of friends and family over, traveling around, and a lot of people staying at your home. Make sure that smoke detectors are functioning. They save lives.
Smith also advises that you buy lots of batteries, so you're not tempted to pull one out of the smoke detector to use in a child's brand new Christmas toy. Smith says people are becoming more fire conscious, but the potential for disaster is always there, so play it safe.
The waterfront events on Sunday were in fact the most popular of the weekend, as they are every year, and the spectators were not disappointed. There was drama skyward as 4 skydivers came in for picture-perfect landings. And humor as well, as teams of would-be boat builders vied for the ever-popular Quick and Daring honors. Some were more successful than others. Despite the damp weather for which Prince Rupert is so famous, CFES chairperson Patty Saka says it came out very successful.
Of course I would. Yes, definitely. Lots of fun. So what if it rained? We don't care.
Everything came off, I guess, just about the way it was supposed to. No big major problems?
No, everything went really well.
Saturday's events downtown included arm wrestling for old and young, the chili cook-off at the fire hall, and the centerpiece of CFES this year, the Queen's Baton. It was run out of the city late Sunday afternoon en route to more than a dozen other communities before arriving at the Commonwealth Games in Victoria. Organizers will now relax for a few months before beginning preparations for CFES 1995, slated for June 9th to the 11th of next year.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind and heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Picktel.